We've got you covered. From WSIL, this is News 3 at 5.
Good evening, I'm Mark Kiesling. A federal state of emergency has now been declared in Kentucky. That's after tornadoes devastated communities across the state Friday night. Kentucky's Governor Andy Beshear says the death toll most likely tops 70 and could eventually top 100 lives lost. Many people are still missing as crews continue to sift through rubble. Late this afternoon, Governor Beshear held a news conference to update everyone on recovery and rescue efforts. 300 National Guard members are on hand to help with house-to-house searches and debris removal. Other state agencies are also helping with that process. Governor Beshear says the scope of the damage is beyond description.
This is Kentucky's most devastating tornado event in our history. We have lost far too many of our brothers and sisters. The damage is devastating. Entire blocks, more than one block, with nothing standing. To the people of America, there is no lens big enough to show you the extent of the damage here in Graves County or in Kentucky.
The governor says state parks are open to take in survivors left homeless by the tornado. There is also money available for funeral expenses for victims. More information on how to apply for those grants will come from the state in the near future. Another area of Kentucky to see devastating damage is Marshall County, and that's where we find our Brooke Slyer tonight. Brooke, you spent the day with first responders. What have you found out?
Yeah, good evening, Mark. Well, right now I'm here at fire station number 2, and this is in the Big Bear community. This is actually a command center for first responders who are volunteering to do search and recovery efforts, as well as, cleaning up debris. Now, a local fire chief here took me to Kentucky Lake, and he told me that I'm actually one of the first media crews to get access to that area. So from fire station number 2, we went to the Kentucky Lake area, and just a few miles from here was actually fire station number 1. And I wish we had video to show you right now. We did get video, but we are having some problems getting that back to the station because the power and internet access is really limited here. But at the fire station number 1 had a lot of damage to that building. Crews there were just trying to salvage whatever equipment that they could. They told me that one of their fire apparatuses was also damaged, and so they had to bring in a windshield just so that could be used for local responders here to go ahead and do that cleanup and do whatever recovery efforts that they could. And from there, we went to a checkpoint, and I was told if we were not with that local fire chief that we'd be turned around from that point. Just going on beyond that point was the Cambridge Shores neighborhood. They told me that's one of the hardest hit areas of Kentucky Lake. So we're going to work on go ahead and getting you that video of what we saw there today just about 45 minutes ago. So we can show you that later on the show. But for now, reporting in Marshall County, Brooke Slyer, News 3.
And we're going to continue to bring you some of the specifics from that storm that made its way through 4 states. It's going to go down on record as one of the longest tracking tornadoes in history, and possibly the longest. Right now, the longest on record is Tri-State tornado. That was back in 1925. That tornado tracked 219 miles. And this could be, again, record-breaking as the days come. We are going to have people out surveying some of that damage to determine whether or not that was one tornado or multiple. Right now, looking at some of the damage, we're talking about possibly an EF4 or bigger. We've got experts that are going to be arriving on Monday to help with some of the surveying, and then just talking about what that means. So if it was an EF3, we're talking about wind speeds of up to 165 miles per hour. We're talking about, for an EF4, wind speeds as high as 200, and EF5 would be over 200 miles per hour. So looking ahead this week as far as the weather goes, I know a lot of people still in cleanup mode. There is some rain in the forecast. We'll let you know how that could impact your plans coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, JACIE. Hundreds of volunteers have made their way to Mayfield, Kentucky to help with recovery efforts for tornado victims. News 3's Maya Skinner was there earlier today and found some southern Illinoisans who were offering assistance.
I'm here in Mayfield, Kentucky, where Friday night storms have left the community in need, and now many volunteers are working to collect donations. We spoke to one organization about what they're doing to help. Integrity Cares is an initiative of Integrity Roofing and Exteriors that helps give back to others. Volunteers drove from southern Illinois with various items for Kentuckians.
We have supplies here in the truck: water, diapers, formula. We have some jackets, we have some blankets, all of which comes from funds that were provided for us through one of our partners, GAF, which is a shingle manufacturer. The truck and trailer were provided by Cornerstone Church in Marion, Illinois.
Owner Terry Gwaltney tells me whether it's a resident or first responder, they want to help as much as they can.
Well, we have an office in Paducah, Harrisburg, Carterville, and so some of our guys were directly impacted that lived in Wingo and Hickory, and had family that was impacted. And so our Integrity Cares arm, we're always looking for ways to serve in the community.
Volunteer Mark Moeller says this is just the first wave of drop-offs. He says you can donate at their sites for the next week or so.
We're going to be collecting materials in 3 different places. You'll be able to bring materials to Cornerstone Church in Marion. You'll be able to bring materials to our home office in Stonefort, Illinois, and also drop off materials in Harrisburg, Illinois. We're asking those places be specific to bottled water, diapers, wipes, blankets, formula.
Organizers also tell us if you would like to bring donations to take them to Mayfield High School, and if you would like to receive those donations, go to Mayfield Graves County Fairgrounds. In Mayfield, Kentucky, Maya Skinner, News 3.
Another way to help is by making a financial contribution to the Western Kentucky Relief Fund. That fund is managed by the state of Kentucky. As of this afternoon, people had donated more than $2.3 million to the fund. Part of that money will be used for funeral expenses for victims. The website is teamwkrelieffund.ky.gov. You can go to our website, wsiltv.com, for that link, and for more ways to help, look for the Tornado Relief How to Donate tab at the top of our webpage. While recovery efforts get underway, crews are still searching for possible victims in the extensive rubble field. News 3's Dave Davis was in Mayfield this morning to find out more on how that process works.
We're in the second full day of cleanup efforts here in Mayfield, Kentucky. Right now, what is happening is search and rescue. We're standing in a residential area just outside of downtown Mayfield. As you can see here, it's hard to tell that it is a residential area. And this is just part of what first responders are dealing with when they're trying to recover people. Right now they are searching for survivors that may be buried inside the rubble. There's still a lot of people missing. Just to the southwest of where we're standing right now is the candle factory. Actively, they are search and rescue going on. Authorities tell me that they brought in dogs today, and they're using those dogs to try to help find survivors. Now, the houses that they have cleared and the structures that they have cleared in the residential areas, you can see right here beside me, will have a big C painted right here. There might even be a little C on the window. If there's not much of a structure left, they're painting that on anything that they can to make it visible, so that way they're not spending time, wasting time trying to go through these houses, and then they're moving through here. I want to point something out to you just real fast. I told you we're just outside of downtown. We see this house. Next house over, wiped out. Next house over, wiped out. It is just unbelievable what they're having to go through right here. And as you can see, they've been plowing through the streets here, just keeping the debris clean out of the streets. That way they're able to get through. And they're trying to keep people from coming down here and just looking and gawking. And so they've set up a couple places where volunteers can meet up and they can get checked in, and then they can send them out throughout the city. And that one of those is the Mayfield High School. The other is the CFSB Bank that is on the north side of Mayfield on Route 45. So if you're planning on volunteer, that's where you need to go. But right now, try to stay clear of the first responders as they do their job and try to search these houses looking for survivors. For now, in Mayfield, Dave Davis, News 3.
At their fallen churches, 2 Mayfield congregations came together to pray for the victims of Friday's storms. Members of First Christian Church and the Presbyterian Church met in a parking lot today, completely surrounded by rubble. Many have been members for several decades. Senior Minister Dylan West says everyone is grieving at this time.
A part of us has been taken. our places where we have worshiped. And I am convinced and I know how heartbroken you are.
Although the storm will forever impact the congregations, members say they found words of comfort from today's service. Now, caught up in the massive tornado was Mayfield's candle factory, now destroyed. At the time of the tornado, around 110 people were working inside. Governor Andy Beshear said today 40 people were rescued, about 70 are still unaccounted for and feared dead. Company CEO Troy Propst says this was an event they could not have expected, but the company is working to provide help for its employees.
We are establishing a hotline that'll be up and running today that our employees can call, and they can call about multiple things, whether it's a loved one, the status, money, jobs, shelter, grieving counselors, which we're going to provide.
Cleanup crews are still working hard to clear the area. Probst believes the community will bond together as they recover from this tragedy. And you can find all of our ongoing coverage on these historic storms, including how to donate and how to get involved in emergency efforts for those impacted. Just head to our website, WSILTV.com.